Coruscant was the heart world of the Republic for a millennia, and when Sidious rose to the position as Emperor, he quickly made it his seat of power. But what exactly happened to Coruscant after the Clone Wars?
In order to ensure the security and continuing stability, the Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire for a safe and secure society.
With the influx of Sidious's new regime, he sought to bring his own form of imperialism to the world that previously represented a great democracy. Seizing the old Jedi Temple in the Federal District, he had much of it remodeled into his imperial palace, not only as a sign of his might over his fallen adversaries, the Jedi, but also due to the ancient Sith shrine that laid beneath. This building, combined with the ISB and Imperial Navy headquarters, made up something named the Supreme Triangle, which represented the core of the Empire's power and how it revolved around its great military. The city's architecture also changed. The Republic's exotic and lavish architecture was mostly stripped away and replaced with the formal, more barren designs that the Imperials favoured. The armed forces became a far more important and influential part of the core world's workings as the senators and politicians became less and less powerful. They were either ousted from Imperial society or rolled over to Sidious and his governor's will. The Federal District itself became a rat race of politicians, military leaders, and wealthy nobles, all wanting to be as close as possible to the Emperor's power base, and to expand their own spheres of influence. Meanwhile, the rest of the planet began to decay. Palpatine had monuments dedicated to himself and his new order erected around the world. Homes were torn down to be replaced with huge superstructures with little regard for their inhabitants. Meanwhile, the lower levels seemed to descend into anarchy. Gangs, crime and spice took its toll, and so long as they didn't interfere with the Imperials, they were left undisturbed. As tensions grew, as Sidious became more and more authoritarian, he pushed his non-alien agenda forward. Discrimination became more and more apparent, and aliens were moved away from the more important areas of the planet, pushed into the now very lawless lower regions. Particularly any Mon Calamari whose homeworld had been occupied by the Empire and whose citizens had been enslaved. After the fall of Alderaan, there was widespread rioting as Coruscant's considerable native Alderaan citizens learned of the atrocity that had taken place. The Empire shut these protests down with extreme prejudice, claiming it was the rebels who orchestrated them. However, they later went door to door arresting many of Alderaan's citizens and taking them in for interrogation, many of whom would not return. When the Empire was defeated, many of Coruscant's citizens celebrated, overrunning Imperial police and tearing down Sidious's monuments, believing that a time of peace was upon them like before the Clone Wars. However, this was far from the case. The Imperials launched a brutal assault, opening fire on anyone caught in the streets. The Moffs and governors would not allow Coruscant to fall and enforced martial law. As the new Republic began to take shape, it dedicated resources into funding rebel cells on Coruscant, leading to brutal guerrilla attacks on Imperial strongholds. However, this only worsened the situation. The Federal District became the Imperial stronghold, heavily fortified by the Imperials, whilst the rest of the city became embroiled in a bloody civil war. The Grand Vizier, Masameda, who had assumed control over Coruscant after Sidious's death, failed to keep the citizens controlled. Eventually, Fleet Admiral Gallius Rex ordered Imperial Navy support for the Throne World to cease, seeing it as a decay that led to the Empire's downfall in the first place. The ISB continued to lock down the world, believing it would hold against the New Republic's onslaught. By this point, Masameda had been placed under house arrest in the Imperial Palace and was forced to make propaganda speeches against his will. Eventually, after seeing the destruction that had waylaid his beloved world, Masameda escaped and managed to rendezvous with the New Republic and sign the Galactic Concordance, which officially marked the end of the Galactic Civil War. Ameda was given control of a provisional government on Coruscant under strict Republic supervision, and the world quickly joined the Republic. However, under new laws it would no longer be the sole capital. Ultimately, Coruscant was an elegant city that was ravaged by the Imperials and possibly saw some of the worst damage long after Sidious's death. but what do you think of Coruscant and how it fared after the Clone Wars? Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. If so, please remember to like and comment and sub, as it's really appreciated and does help the channel grow. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at The Lore Guy for regular updates. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.